There we go. Game number 1 has started. And for those of you guys wondering, wait, are we playing 12 games today? No, we are not, of course. We're playing 4 today, 4 tomorrow, and 4 on Wednesday. So you know where to be, you know where to go for the next couple of days. You will be right here watching PUBG with me and all the other guys in the chat. And of course, if you're sitting out there in the chat, maybe you have a team you support. Maybe there's a certain team that you like more than the other one. Spam some love in the chat. Get some love in there. Show some logos. Show those whatever sayings or mottos or team slogans you might have, and let us get all the PUBG love in the game that we can. First game, always interesting because we could have teams landing on top of each other, because a lot of these teams, obviously coming from multiple different regions, might just not have played one another before. And it seems to me like there is a little bit of contesting going on here and there. Yannick, Silas, Diaz and Nemrith, it seems, are contested over towards Georgia Paul, so that could be a bit of a confrontation coming in there. And also we have, it seems like 3 teams making their way down towards, at least towards farm and the area down there. That could become a bit of an issue. And other than that, I'm sitting and looking around, don't really see any immediate potential issues coming in anywhere else. Alia and Swarm, they narrowly made it in. They had a really good performance actually coming in last week. They started off okay. So Swarm, if I remember correctly, Swarm started off every day last week with a win in game number 1. If I'm remembering wrong, then they might have gotten a 2nd place in game number 3, but at least the first 2 days they won the first game both days. So that would be interesting to see if they can if they could somehow repeat that. Now we have SCG looting the round in here alongside his teammates. But as you can see, temp name, they're up in the area here as well. Nemrith at least is up here. And Mini GG by himself, SLR and AK-14 in hand. That's a pretty good start off, to say the least. Amorous, he went for a swim, and obviously his team is not eliminated. That is just merely a little visual mistake there. But he went for a swim. Seems to me like someone forgot to jump out of the plane, and when he was pushed out, he was not ready to do anything about it. So he goes down. 62 is what we were left with, but I'm sure these 62 guys that are here are very ready to play. Wizards as well finished off last week pretty much on top. They had a really good week. They had a few games that were a bit rough, but the ones that were good were extremely good, and they clearly sat on top of that lobby. Now we'll see if they can continue with the same style, as I would assume to say that the level of play has only gotten higher as we have picked and chosen more teams that finished high up in the open league lobbies from both EU East, West, and MEA. 4 AKs. They're getting 4 anchor kits. They're walking around down here, getting themselves some loot. Northwest Running Quay and Company getting their looted up. Cofest is out for a swim as well. Seems like it wasn't only Amorous who went in the water. One more player decided to go for a swim. Personal courage. They will be maybe they'll pick up some extra ammo, a few more meds, because they know that the Cofest he's gonna be swimming at least for a little while now, and he's far down south too. Persis, we got Mr. Caracas up here, Saga up there as well. They've gotten themselves looted up over towards the shelter area, seemingly without any confrontations. They had, seems like, I think they had a bit of a scuffle with some of the other teams trying to get the vehicles early on, but at least now they made it down here and shouldn't really be any issues for them coming into the first couple of rotations they'll be getting. Sneaky Slayer, we'll see if he can live up to his name. They're looting up in Yasnaya. And I like that we're flying around here. Normally, I'd prefer just seeing the map so we can see what's going on. But now with this being game number 1, and some of you guys might not knowing knowing exactly how things are turning out and who's playing here, it's always a good start to take a quick look at what these teams look like. Maybe some of the logos that you haven't seen before. And Aurora, they're getting their race on here as well, going further west. They're already by the circle, and they of course want to see if they can get themselves a more centered position. Levent MDK, the front runner up there, or is it Levent M and then it's DK for Denmark? I don't know. I don't think. I mean, they're not a Danish team, so that would be surprising. Maybe the DK stands for something else. Meesim running up towards his teammates in Wizards. They're getting their move on as well, coming in from the north, making their way on downtown. And then Meet Jamaicas up against Persis early on. Pullman under fire. Meet Jamaicas, they are normally a military team, but they also have the alternative route in going over towards Watertown. It seems like that's where they've opted to go this time around. Flurry all by himself What can he do? He does have ropes and intense on the other side of the rope, but seems like neither of them want to cross over. And should he take this peek on his own and go down, I'm not sure that his team would be able to retaliate fast enough for Flurry to be traded. We'll see now, though. He's sneaky peekingly making his way around. AK against UMP. Spotted out. AK wins the battle right there. Pullman, it goes down. Fortunately for Flurry, we did go down to half HP, but not a whole lot more to it. Outlaws now, as we can see, the Oztec Warriors, the second team that went in 11th place in the other group in the Contenders Phase 1, under fire, under pressure now as well. So multiple teams running into each other early on. Meet Jamaica's are coming on up in official. He is clearly by himself. No other person's teammates around here. No other teammates around to help him out. Oztec, they managed to scare off Wizards. They realized, Wizards, that there were indeed more than one player around. Oh, and now you can see the Molotovs and nades being thrown on in. I think the Media Makers players are pretty well aware of Invisial's position. He's by himself now. He's taking fire from multiple other angles too, and his teammates are nowhere near him to help out. Intense, Rupsi, pushing in together. They're clearing everything step by step. They don't want to overcommit. They do not want to risk losing a player early on. Nate's thrown upstairs. Going to blow off, I believe, both the doors, so they won't have to deal with them should they decide to push up to the roof. The question is here, of course, how much do you want to commit? Is it really worth it to go up and get the kill on the guy on the roof, or are you just going to let him be up there for now, and then whenever you decide to rotate out, you keep an extra eye on the roof? How do they want to play it? Do they want to take the chance of having one more fight by just maybe potentially storming up with all 4 guys together, or are they going to let him sit around there for a little while longer before they make their own rotations? Now, you see, actually, vehicles getting popped as well. They got the entirety of Ghost Legion up here on the top. And Ghost Legion, they had a really, really, really good week. For first stage of the tournament. Dude, does have 4 nades in official. Does have 4 nades. One is being thrown now, but he's under fire, and he's getting knocked as well. Golby from far off, getting himself the knock. And once again, I mean, both Golby and the other guys from Ghost Legion, they were so darn good last week. They had good rotations, and once they were forced into fights, Golby was just tapping heads all over the place. So no news under the sun as far as him getting a good knock early on here in the game. Sure, the kill was stolen, but still 100 damage delivered from Golby very early on in the game. So 2 guys down from Persis early on. That's unfortunate. Of course, not the start that you want to have to the tournament, but nonetheless, that is how the cookie crumbles, and they will just have to play better the next 3 games. But again, it is game 1 of the tournament, and of course, it's there are certain amounts of confusion when you play against new teams. You don't know who goes where, and you kind of just try to adapt really to figure out where there's room for you. Andy gets himself a knock, but gets traded immediately after. That's Art of War. They barely, almost with the skin of their teeth, fell off. And when it came to last week, I believe they made it in with... Actually, they had a pretty good last game, but it was close nonetheless. It was close nonetheless. Andy, it does go down and out. So not a whole lot more he could do there. You see right here, Tony and Art of War going up against huge potential. Denethor and Serum did so much damage last week. Moon and Appeal didn't really manage to do the same amount, but this time around it is Appeal getting himself a knock. Memo with a knock in return. So that's once again a trade 1-for-1, but seems to me like Denethor did get rest previously. So currently a 3v2 should both these players go down, but seems like they will both get rest indeed. So 4v3 is coming up, and this circle pops, and we're going north of the river, and we can see how many players are sitting down on the southern side. They will all have to figure how the hell do we get up. And look at Kofest. Kofest just started looting, and he's on the military island, so not really optimal for him whatsoever. He's far down south. That's what happens when you AFK jump and you have to swim all the way back in. At least he stayed alive, as opposed to Amorous, who, well, I mean, who wasn't quite as fortunate. Appeal, trying to see if he can assist his team in taking down some more of these players. Hannibal running over Simpson. That's, of course, not something you like to have happen when you're about to start your rotation. In general, guys, just stop these team locks. I mean, I know sometimes you can just get unlucky and the guy runs in front of you and it's not the driver's fault and whatnot, but it's very simple to avoid. Just do not walk in front of vehicles. It's, yeah, just don't. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but with the skill level that a lot of these players have, I would assume that it should be a possibility. Swamp, they get themselves their first kill. Seems like Riddle is now under fire. Yoltdale forced out of his vehicle too. Tries to go back in it and stop it. Denethor and Moon, as soon as we swap away from that fight, of course, that's when the knocks come in. So 2 guys knocked by Art of War. And now PEL and Zero, and they have to figure out how they can go down and get the rest. Seems like Moon is under fire once more, so that might just be both of them taking out. Tony throwing some nades on forward. He was a huge impact in his team making it to the finals. Had a really good final game, or second to final game, I believe, last week. PEL going down. Tony, good nade thrown on the money right there. And Zero now all by himself takes the vehicle and says, nope, I am not going to try and do anything else here. So good nades thrown. Gets himself the knock, gets the finish off as well. And 3 points secured by Art of War, but they did lose Andy in the process of all of that. Mini still inside the George Paul area. He has to figure out if he wants to stick it out much longer, because I mean Riddle, they're clearly positioning themselves so they can get a better angle on towards him. But as a circle is coming in, I mean sure it's only circle 2 and it's not that much of a difference or that much of a scare, but you don't want to spend too much time out here, especially when you're this far away from the circle. Circle did go north, and well, right now they're just holding each other up for seemingly no reason. SCG, or GST, sorry, has been knocked, but can he get rested? Blue will do damage as well. Nope, not gonna happen. He will go down. LXG get himself a knock onto Hickey as well. So, and he actually gets finished off too. So not only did the personal courage get Kofist far down in the water early on, they also just lost a player on their second rotation. Unfortunate start for them. Yordale trying to get into safety with the US. Seems like he's able to pull that one off. Sneaky Slayer and Quizzy just chilling up north. They have themselves the warehouse. It's a great spot to be in. Phosphor is trying to sort of apply some sort of pressure, but he's by himself, and that's a scary thing to, like, scary peaks to take. Because if they knock him, if they figure out that he's a solo player, well, that might just be him losing a very good spot for his team. Sinsen forced to make the run on down here. They're trying to see if they can somehow avoid having to fight with these guys for much longer, because as you can see, I mean, Zero made it out, got himself a crate as well, but New Circle's about to pop, and it's most likely going even further up north. Not sure where Kofist is. Oh, it actually backs down south. Interesting. Okay, so we're still north of the river, but it actually goes back down south. So not the furthest distance to go, but the worst thing I guess you can say about this circle being that it did shift out of a lot of those compounds you have up north. So not a whole lot of hard cover remaining. It's going to be those forest fights around the plane crash and around the open areas down just north of the river that are going to be potentially the end of this game. And this stuff, like we see right here, forest fights, shooting from tree to tree, try and push further forward, that could most likely beat what we will see for the end of this game. Swamp, they're trying to run on in. They already got themselves one kill. Temp name forced back down the behind the trees yet again. Nimworth tried to go a little aggressive, get himself further forward, but he was not allowed to do so. Persis, just 2 players remaining, Karagas and Sacker. We saw earlier how they lost 2 of their teammates. They got split off really early on by multiple teams, so it makes sense that they weren't really around to get the help on over just on the west side of Rossock by Watertown, but at least they still have 2 guys up. So there's a chance. There's a chance. And of course, for those of you guys out there in the chat, if you have any questions regarding circle settings or points or any of that matter, go over to the PUBG Esports site. You can probably find it in the links and all the commands down there. PUBGesports.eu. You can go in there and you can find all the stats, all the scores, all the standings, everything you need to know about the rules and whatnot. You can go in there and find for yourself. And look at the smart rotation coming in from the guys here. Party Phonic. He gets himself not 1 but 2 knocks, and this is the same team that were sitting and holding them off in South George while they had Mini GG in the Wizard holding them off. The other guy said, you know what we can expect them to do is probably back off and go for another bridge, and they just go over there and set up the perfect ambush. Great performance. Taking out now. Party does go down. Clip does manage to land the headshot, but he's by himself now as far as I know. I think Clip is a solo player now. Might have a teammate still alive. Could be that Hannibro is still up in the mix as well, but it's not going to be easy. Northwest taking down 4AK, taking casualties, and holy cow, great connected long-range shots down towards Persis as well. So they're down to just 1 player too. Caracas is going to be the last remaining player there. So clearly some some elbow, what do you say, like people trying to get themselves into some proper spots. Oh, this is a rough spot to prone in. Amir Moore taking himself one down, and that's gonna be clipped now. Last remaining player for Riddle, not the kind of start of the tournament they would have wanted here. Down to under half HP, makes the run on off. He is safe for now, but I wonder if he will be able to stay safe for much longer, because you got the entirety of Vinconas sort of pushing down towards him. Circle goes north once more. We knew it was going to shift away from water, and of course it goes to where the biggest majority of the landmass is. Clip trying to throw some nades, throw them off. There are 4 players, make that 3 players actually coming down, because they lost Amorous earlier on, but Riddle will be taken out. That's gonna be Clip eliminated, and down they go. First team to be eliminated here in stage number 2 of the PEL promotionals. This could be a player to follow immediately after. Caracas down behind the trees by himself. Nate comes in, takes him down low, but not enough. Not enough to get the knock on towards him. He has a little ridge line to hide behind, and Meteor Makers have been the ones to take out 2 of his teammates already, and intends once more. It spots him out, and that's going to be the 4th player out for Persis. So that will be them out in 15th place to follow, right by Riddle. Quizzy getting knocked as well. Wizards getting in the action, but no finish offs coming in just yet. And Sirong now by himself as well. So many players down to just one, so many teams down to just 1 player early on. Sirong, one of them as well, high potential. They had a good thing going in the last week's stage number 1. But this game seems to be a tough one, if not near impossible for Sirong to get into any sort of placement points on. Kofest has made his way up. He's still in the water. Seemingly, Kofest likes the water. That's fair enough. I can respect that. Aliyah with the finish up onto D's as well. We see so many of these teams trying to figure out how to rotate on forward. Phosphid has the angle down here. They have Kofest over on the other side too, but for AK, they want to start rotating. They cannot be bothered to sit around down here much longer. Sirong trying to take some taps as well, but he's taking a lot of fire in return from the other side. And there's a full team sitting over here just waiting for rotations to come in. Northwest somehow still alive. His vehicle is burning almost. Gets out of it alive though. Phosphor taking down Nate straight to the face. Now Houston and Kofest, they're the last 2 remaining players for personal courage. It's not going to be an easy push for them to get on out from here. Kofest has already been spotted in the water. Houston underneath the rock formation. He needs to do something to apply pressure up towards the opponents as well. 19 HP and he gets knocked immediately. Houston does get up, get himself a knock, but does go down in return. Dictator from far up the hill takes him down, and that is going to be him eliminated. Sniffle taken down as well. And more shots are coming in from the side now. This is just a rough spot to be in. And Nix, he has no way to get the rests on up. Ronnie will go down. Sniffle most likely will as well. As phase 4. You cannot get the rest up. The circle is doing too much damage. And you see Memo far up in the distance. He is the one, the man who is applying all this pressure down towards them. So Nixties by himself. Get those meds going, because you need to start making your way on forward. Look at this. I mean, Memo and Ben Q, they're, it seems like Tony was, I mean, Tony is in the Wizard, and there are 4 guys sneaking, like, as slow as you possibly can, sneaking their way in, and they don't see them. Now Tony spots 1, Mini gets spotted out in the open. Memo gets taken down immediately after though, so despite them doing a lot of damage, they are starting to take knocks in return. Party runs in, Mini gets rest potentially, and BenQ now have to figure out how the hell he can do anything. Teammate gone down, no rest coming in. Andy went down earlier as well, and they're out in the blue. This ain't gonna be easy. Tony has to make the drive on over towards his teammate as well. He's taking a lot of fire, and they only have a buggy. Not exactly the best type of cover for them. Circle now shifts his way away from them too, so not going to be easy for them to do anything from here. Sure, they can make the run on up the hill with a little bit of a dip in, or like ditch in their advantage, but it's not gonna be a an opportune situation to be in, considering they're only 2 players and have so much open ground to cover. Wizards, they took the compound up north early on, and well, I mean, that paid off because that circle did go up towards them as well. Gold B spots out 1. They only have the vehicles and a few rocks for cover. Mikhailovich alongside his teammates trying to get the better angle on towards both the team in the compound, being Wizards, and also of course the guys on the other side. Sneaky drives the vehicle up. They know they need some additional cover later on, and now Tony going down as well. Party has been landing some good shots today, and he's continuing to do so already. Mini does go down in return, but it's still only BenQ remaining for his team. Swarm, they're pushing back down the other way they came from. Coplin and Test both gone down, so I believe it's only a mere more remaining. Ben goes down. Ben goes down, so Art of War out in 12th place. They got some kills, but out in 12th place they go. And this area is just so difficult to play around, especially if you're many teams alive, because on the western side of this compound that we're seeing right here, it's a huge open field. Yannick, guy we've had in the scene for a long time, very talented player. Trying to see if he can do something, but it's very limited what you can really, how many angles, like how much you can really control when you're forced inside a shack. And you can see with the broken door already, they have been under fire from their position. So not a whole lot he can do to go aggressive from that spot. Seemingly like, I mean, more here, I mean, they just gonna play it safe, gotta play it slow, and hope you can get something going your way. Intense gets herself a little steal. And Roopsy is the one to take down guy number 2. So Cerebro, they got a lot of kills, I believe, actually. Got a pretty good amount of kills with them, but not a whole lot more they could do. They were the participators of I think 3 or 4 different team fights there, and they unfortunately couldn't handle the pressure. In the end, going down in 11th place, but at least some kill points did come their way. Oshtek Warriors, a team from Saudi Arabia, not a region that we really see a whole lot of esports in general, I believe, out from. But Saudi Arabian team here making their presence known. They have the good part, southern side of the circle. They have a chance to push on up forwards now as well. Northwest taken down. That's going to be their team out. And as we talked about them, Hashtag Warriors, they almost made it into the next round. Just a few points off. But unfortunately, we're not able to get on in there. So they're, of course, hoping to be able to get into stage of phase 2 through the second stage of the promotionals here. Yellow. Ghost Legion, they're far on the edge. They have all of Wizards to deal with. And they also have Oshtek running up the hill trying to see if they can hold them off. Because Oshtek, they need to get inside the circle themselves as well. But they don't really have the same amount of pressure put on towards them from Wizards. Because the hill is that much more steeper over towards where they are. They could potentially do something from where they are. But they need to land these shots because they need to run simultaneously with them shooting. That's the issue. You cannot just stop and stand still and shoot for too long because the circle is starting to close in just about 10 seconds time. So you need to constantly make your move on forward, because if Ghost Legion gets all the way up around the top, that will force, and you actually see it happening already right now, that will force Oztec to turn the other round, or turn the other way and run back down the other direction. Goldbeer is going aggressive though. He's far off from his team, and Arsenality going down now as well. Far off from his team, and he's starting to apply some pressure down the hill. Gets the knock on towards Outlaw. Blowy and Meteor Makers, they're doing a lot of damage as well. 7 kills already for the Meteor Makers team. Apo under a lot of pressure. Nades are coming in as well. Could that be on the money? Nope, it goes a bit too far. That one though, oh, it's blocked. Is that going to be a triple or a double at least coming in? He caught the nade. It would have continued down the hill, but he blocked the nade with his body and it exploded right on them. Dictator somehow manages to stay alive from that explosion, but that was so close, and he goes down in the end as well. So the double nade coming in from Submarine to finish it off by Arthur. What a hell of a throw. Unfortunate, I guess you can say, for them that it went in the spot that it did. Wow, that was a an unfortunate body block on Nate that got his team eliminated in the end. Feels Nate, man, that's a yeah, that's an unfortunate set of circumstances. See, temp name, they're still alive. Somewhat centered position in the new circle. It's shifted west of the compound. It's closing in already. They're trying to do everything they can to get at least some sort of info from a very small, from a position with very little vision, I guess you could say. But it seems like they have to spread it out a bit more. Yannick, I have to say that though, not at all. Yannick and Nimrod are still just chilling out in this shack. They're not planning on going anywhere anytime soon. Oh no, actually Nimrod is outside. Okay, so Nimrod is outside, trying to look behind them, make sure that nobody's coming down too close. Because you don't want to be within nade range from all those opponents. They have opponents up the hill, and of course within downhill run it could make things easier. Aurora goes out in 7th, and now Goldby by himself once again, trying to hold off this push that would be expected to come from Wizards at some point, soon as their compound is just on the edge of the circle. Arthur running around the side. Intense and Roopsy, they obviously saw him, but they don't really want to push on it. And holy cow, Nimrod and Yannick, did you just get yourself a crate? lands right on their little shack. So despite them not having a good position, well, at least they get themselves a crate if they dare go for it. That's the thing. Do they dare run those 2 meters out for a crate? That could be them receiving a hell of a lot of fire in their direction. Is it really worth it? Are you going to get back with that level 3 helmet, or is it going to be broken by the time you get back inside that shack? T-Bone trying to scare off the opponents. T-Bone had a monstrous week in the previous... oh, that's a good nade on the money there as well. Had a really good week damage-wise and kills-wise in the previous week stage 1. Arthur goes for the flush, but should have gone for the second play because Roopsy was right there to retaliate. Takes him down as well right off the bat. Submarine trying to apply pressure, but they know they're getting pushed in from behind as well, and he has to do something. Look at the circle damage coming in, and Fun ain't gonna let him have it. He's gonna go down immediately. Just 5 teams remaining now as Ghost Legion goes out in 6th place. Flurry taken down by the circle, and now Wizards once again forced into a fight on top. T-Bone gets a nade straight in return from what he did before. Not a whole lot more he could do there. And they need to do something to hold them off. Swarm, has they seen them? Have they seen them down the hill? Oh, that wizard. Oh, that nade will blow out the wizard, I guess you can say. Finished it down. Not a whole lot more there. And now, now the CS team here, they'll be forced to sort of reposition themselves. They're far out on the edge of the circle. Sneaker Slayer on the top, trying to see if he can do something to spot them out. I'm trying to count the number. Which number is that, guys? Whoever is good with Roman numbers, count it up real quick and let me know what number it is in the chat. Because I know that the C's are... M's are 1,000, C's are 100, V's... I don't remember how it is. But yeah, it's a number. In like Roman numbers. Nemerith. He hears all the action. Ooh, that's a good shot through the smoke. He hears them all, and he's trying to tap his way up there as well. That's a good, well-connected shot there, too. Sneaky Slayer takes out Misa. O'Connell gone down as well, and all of a sudden things are starting to look grim for the Wizards team. Quizzy going down though. Drone finally committed over the top, but now he's taking a lot of shots in return. Tries to spray on over, gets down Mikhailovic. Somewhat random spray thrown forward. He knew where he was, but fortunate to land the headshot. Of course, when you're prone to look in the direction, there's not a whole lot more you can hit other than heads there. Intense getting down Drone. He was a bit too aggressive, trying to peek up and get some info. And look at this, Nemerith and Yannick. They're just chilling on the southwest side with everybody fighting up here. All the remaining 4 teams are full-on fighting in this area of the map. And then you have Yannick and Nemerith just chilling. They're not in a... They don't really need to fight. They're just laying back saying, guys, you can fight. You can fight. We'll come say hi later whenever you're all down to duos. And they pretty much are already, actually. I believe we have 1 team with 3 guys alive, and that would be the team up top here, LXG. Only team with 3 players alive. Nemerith does go down. Yannick got himself a knock, but now they're taking 5 from multiple angles. Well, Yannick, currently at least, the only player on his feet for a temporary name. Misa taken down. Eros is there trying to hold the angle, but there's going to be so much fire coming his way. They have a vehicle right on them as well, and that could easily be an explosion and a team eliminated, and it is. Eros tried to do anything to get himself some better loot. Didn't work out, and that is going to be Wizards out for the 5th place. Sorry, hiccups. 5th place finish for them. So good performance overall. Mikhailovic on his own, trying to hold anything coming in from the north, and they just do not have the angle to really contest Swarm at this point. Swarm, though, taking a lot of fire from the other side, and Sneaky, as I said that, I mean, for Swarm at least, they don't have to peek anything, but every time they do, you got LXG players ready and watching down towards them. Tuck and Brogan, they know where they have Sneaky's down behind the tree, but they can't overcommit to it because there's so many more angles. You can see how everyone is out in the open, and Intense gets the angle on towards him. Mikhailovic goes down now as well, and the 2 remaining players for Meet Jamaikas, they're applying a ton of pressure. That's the 5th kill for Intense, and I believe that puts the total for Meet Jamaikas into double digits at this point. 8 kills for Swarm as well, so everybody's been fragging out so far, at least the teams that are still remaining in the game. LXG, they had the more quiet position in the top early on, but they still managed to rack up 5 kills already with placement points coming in from this game as well. Intense goes down. Yannick, nice sneaky position down there. Broken on the top, tries to apply some damage too. Rupta goes down. That's going to be Meet Jamaikas out, and now LXG Still 2 guys alive trying to hold this angle, but it's only gonna get more and more difficult. And somehow, Yannick and Nemerith, despite the fact that they were in that shack for so long, Yannick actually made it into a potential 1v2 clutch and a victory in game number 1 here. Question is though, does LXG know where he's positioned? I'm not sure exactly how Yannick managed to do this, and I believe he has level 3 gear as well. That could be the difference maker. You can see how he's not fully boosted, which would most likely be the call that he doesn't have any boosters remaining. Nope, only level 2 helmet for Yannick. Okay, so only level 2 helmet for Yannick. I don't think he had any nades either. He's playing it ever so careful. Circle is closing in already. It is a death circle, and you can see Sneaky. He's just running around. Maybe he'll be the bait for his teammate. Oh, spots ahead. Oh, Yannick starts spraying, but I don't know what he thought he saw. Clearly, it was an opponent. I think this must be a... Yeah, this is clearly a visual glitch. Yannick is spraying into a tree and getting kills on the other side. There's something wrong here, and Yannick goes down. So clearly something went wrong with his